Okay.
Recording is in progress.
Yes. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to UnityNet Africa and Diaspora weekly meeting. We call it a strategy session because it is a meeting that's intended for us to look at what is happening in Africa and within the diaspora. And all presentations and engagements that happen are intended to see how we can best strategically position Africa. And this is Africa globally. So welcome to this session. And the agenda, okay, my name is Juliet Miabo. I am based in South Africa. I'm part of the board of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. I serve in the communications and IT unit. Yes, and I'm glad to be here. Unfortunately, the Secretary General, Continental Secretary, is not available, so I will be assisting with the co-hosting of the meeting. I'm just glad that Dr. Carlos is here. Without waste of time, what we'd like to do is, and before I even say that, I'm glad that Madam Susan Yego is here, who is one of the presenters today. Yes, and I'll also be on the lookout for our other presenter. But for now, without any waste of time, I'll just take us through the agenda and then confirm, and then we can start. The first point would be the opening remarks by the Continental President, which is Dr. Carlos, who sits in Sierra Leone. Last time I checked, we never know. He will update us. The second point will be introductions. What we'd like to do is just to have like a 30-second introduction by yourself, who you are, where you, which country are you sitting in, and maybe which organization are you representing, or which part of UnityNet are you contributing towards. Just a brief introduction. Then we'll go to the presentation, we call them TOT sessions, where we'll be, I see someone is sharing the screen already. Is that you, Madam Susan?
Carlos is sharing the screen.
Oh, okay. Dr. Carlos, you sharing the screen already, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, is it me? Is it me really? I don't think I'm
someone
the one.
is. Pardon?
No, I don't think I'm the one sharing the screen.
Oh, okay. No. It's Dr. Carlos.
Me. It's
okay.
It's me. Really.
All right. No, then what we'll have
today.
No problem. As you can see, we will be having that presentation, so it's on standby. And then we are going to have, Madam Susan Yego from Kenya, who's going to be presenting on food waste. And then we'll have Q&As, question and answers, and then or discussions. And then we'll have Niyonzima. It sounds like a Zulu name, but Niyonzima Gaspari from Uganda, who will also be presenting. And yes, and after that, we'll move to other business and then move to closure. But nonetheless, because we look forward to the presentations, that's but before I conclude the confirmation of the agenda, I just want to check if there's anything else that we need to note that will be discussed on number 4, so that we keep the agenda tight and we don't have surprises at the end. Is there anything else? I'll just go around the room. Anyone?
I think you're right there. Yes, you're correct.
Is there anything else?
Well, I just want to say today, if we are doing any introduction, let it be like 1 second or maybe 5 seconds per person, so that we'll be able to control time. Because one of the issues I'm going to talk about today is about how we can manage our time proficiently. Thank you.
Okay, all right, noted. So my 30 seconds was too generous. We're moving back to 10 seconds maximum introduction. All right. Yes, that is noted. And can someone just confirm the agenda and then we move? And I request, yeah, can someone just confirm?
Yeah, the agenda is fine. Yeah,
all right, fine. Okay, thank you then. What we'll then do is officially welcome everyone. And I think I've done that already, and ask the Continental President, yes, Mr. Sanko, Dr. Carlos, to please do your opening remarks as always. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. I want to join the team and everyone in Africa and the diaspora to welcome partners, members, participants from all over the world joining or who have joined UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, which is here really to look at possible solutions around addressing the numerous or countless problems or challenges we are facing in Africa in the various sectors, and especially in the area of food security and other economic development sectors. My name is Carlos Richard Sanko, as she rightly mentioned, and so I'm the president of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. And so I'm currently in Sierra Leone, and I'm working with several organizations, including the Union of European Expert Chambers and the West African Women's Association to promote development in Africa. And of course, with our baby, which is UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. So I'm grateful to, on behalf of the team, we are grateful to Andrew's network. Andrew, thank you. And also we are grateful to the UnityNet International, headed by Lloyd Ilfati in Canada. We're grateful. And I'm also grateful to the UNAT board members and the general membership of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, both resident and those in the diaspora. And so specifically today, there are two key things I'm going to talk about. One is about time management. We noted that from submissions or from regular discussions with several partners all over the world, and people are saying that our timeliness or time management is very poor. And we are also consuming a lot of time looking at a few things. For instance, in Africa, we are suffering from two key important things or sources. One is about the resources to support the internet system. The internet connectivity is very important. So most times people don't have enough funds to support that particular sector, and it's a very serious one. And the other one is the timeliness of the time we used to spend and all these ones. Normally, people say repeated issues, or repeatedly they keep on saying one thing. And so therefore, facilitators, this is a moment that I'm calling together with all of us, a week of time for us to be managing our time. And inter alia, I already suggested that let us have within 1 hour to have our meetings done. That will be fine. And so primarily look at our presenters and see how we can micromanage our time, and with also feedbacks or questions and all these ones. That's very, very key. Remember, we leave no one behind, and this is inclusive. So everyone should have the opportunity to be part of the flow. And so I go straight to the second point I want to look at is about food security in Africa and what it is saying currently. I hope I hope my display is going to show. I think I'm having some technical problem around my display. Okay, that's great. Oh, fine. Now I want to look at this one, the first one. So, African food insecurity status.
Dr. Carlos?
Oh, yes, are you there?
Yes, sorry. Dr. Carlos, yes.
Do you get me?
Yes, I'm here. Dr. Carlos?
Yes.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, apologies for that. I accidentally muted. Dr. Carlos, as always, thank you. And thank you for highlighting the issue of time management, because yes, the issue of time management also goes along with the issue of commitment. And I know that at times we touch on that, because time management, meaning being prepared to invest time into seeing the growth and sustainability of UNET. So I think in itself, that I believe calls for a special meeting, but I think we can discuss that going forward, where we individually call all the past participants and current participants, just to get people to recommit with their time, because it is an issue of time to UNED and going forward. And also bring in, and bring in a presentation as well within that, maybe from someone from uni, you know, so that people can see the bigger picture. Because maybe like in any vision, people need to be recommitted to the vision. So maybe let's schedule next week or the other week a special presentation on the recommitment and the vision going forward.
Oh, that's great. That's fine. So can we have a volunteer before the end of this session? We can have it within, or maybe even those or after. Can you facilitate that process for us to have somebody who can present that? Time.
All right. Yes, no, I can facilitate and also help to identify the speakers. It is basically the repurposing and revisioning of UNED. That's very important.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much again, Continental President. We then continue with the introductions. What we'll do is keep them a couple of seconds brief. So at this stage, as Madam Jane would normally say, let's start with the people who are very new. And looking at the list, oh, I see, I'm happy to see that Niyonzima is in the waiting room. So I'm admitting, I'm not sure if it's a he or she. I'm admitting, yeah, I've just admitted him. Welcome. Sorry, is it Mr. or Miss Gaspari?
Yes, please.
Yes, oh, it's a say yes. Well, welcome. We are on the part where we are just doing brief introductions. So if yes, but maybe let's just start with you. Just your name, the country in the organization. Just a few seconds. We're all going to do that. Please introduce yourself. Just a few seconds.
Thank you so much. My name is Niyonzima Gaspar. I'm from Uganda, and I'm the founder of Gaspar Foundation Initiative Uganda. I thank you all for this. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you so much, and welcome. Welcome from Uganda. We look forward to your presentation, which you have in hand, if I may just confirm.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Great. And then I'm going to also now ask Madam Susan, please introduce yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Juliet, Madam Juliet, for this opportunity to give me. Thank you, President, Continental President, Professor Carlos. Thank you, Professor Lloyd, and all the members that are on board today. Okay, I didn't know that I was going to present, but I was told that it was also in the morning. Therefore, I'm using the same PowerPoint to do my presentation, but my introduction, I come from Kenya, and I'm the project director for UnityNet Kenya. Yeah, there's not much that we're doing now that the year is about to end, but if we can reflect back, I can say that we managed to have one project in the month of June, July, planting of trees, and it wasn't so well much covered across the country, but we look forward to perform much better next year. Therefore, today I have a presentation on food waste and food loss. I'm going to take not so much time, maybe around 15 minutes. Thank you, Madam Julie.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Susan. We look forward to your presentation. Your introduction was very long though, but we'll forgive you just this once. I just want to see if I'm going to follow the gender protocol and welcome. Please introduce yourself, Madam Rose, sitting in Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Rose Mwadaviro. I'm from Kenya, not Zimbabwe.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah, it is okay. I'm from Kenya, the mental health psychologist and a nurse by profession. I love to talk about mental health issues many a times, and I'll soon be presenting some more topics. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you. I'm a member of UnityNet.
Yes, no, definitely. Do accept my apology. I'm trying to recruit more people from the SADC. You see, I'm also recruiting you as well. Thank you. Yes, no, thank you. And we have someone, Madam Susan specializes in agriculture. Madam Rose specializes in mental health. So we are fully capacitated. What we'll do is, I see Madam Shimiz Atama is here. Quickly introduce yourself, please. She's from Nigeria. That one I've got right.
Thank you, Ambassador Juliet. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm sorry, we have been having a series of issues with network. If you noticed, I joined and it threw me out and I came back again. So I'm sorry for joining late. My name is Dr. Chemeze Atama, and I'm the founding director, Equity Watch Initiative. Equity Watch Initiative is located in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where I am also a lecturer in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. And our organization basically is working around issues of women, promoting gender equality, women and girls empowerment. Also, we are also because inclusion, of course, we know is at the heart of the UN agenda. So working in the spirit of leaving no one behind, we work with everyone, male, female, but with sole purpose of empowering the women and also the girls. Yeah, so we work around issues of harmful traditional practices, that jeopardize women. We work around issues of sexual and reproductive health, empowering women and girls, promoting them to, develop their capacity, empowering them and with skills and all of that. So I'm happy to join the call this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Shamis. If I was a school teacher, I would be wagging my stick now to say 10 seconds. But in any case, welcome. Yes, thank you for that introduction and for contextualizing the work you do with women and girls in Nigeria. Excellent work that you do. We'll quickly go to Madam Jane. I'm noting you, but can I ask Caroline to introduce themselves, please? If you may please keep it under 10 seconds so we can have time for the presentations. There's someone who's logged in as Caroline. Please say something, or can someone recognize and confirm them, or we'll have to remove them from the page. Caroline? Okay.
Yes, hello everyone.
Oh, thank you. We're about to remove you. Welcome. A quick introduction, please. Please.
Don't remove me from the group. I'm sorry I joined late.
Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Just a quick introduction. Welcome.
Okay, I'm Caroline Mboga from Kenya. I'm a teacher by profession, a patron of 4K Club, and a patron of Kenya Wildlife Club. And I'm also a farmer, a poultry farmer by choice, that is. And I'm a member of UnityNet. I'm happy to join you this meeting, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much and welcome. Welcome. I almost made a deadly mistake there. Yes, no, you're most welcome, Madam. Someone else again from Kenya. Kenya is well represented. Madam Jane, greetings. Please, a quick introduction of yourself. Madam Jane is the Continental Secretary General, the person I'm holding the meeting for at this stage. Please introduce yourself. Madam Jane, are you able to talk? You did say you'll be in a remote space. Okay. All right. What we'll do is, and then we'll continue now that we've, yes, we've all the ladies have greeted. Can we now have? I'm going to be biased towards my country and ask Mr. Van der Merwe to introduce himself.
Good evening, Heinrich van der Merwe from UnityNet South Africa, in Van der Bijl Park, Southern Gauteng, and I'm an agricultural engineer trying to improve the wealth and welfare of African people through the insurance of the supply of food and fiber. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Van der Merwe. You know, with all the expertise we have, there shouldn't be any problems of food shortage in Africa, but we'll get there. That's why we are here as an organization. Okay, can we have, yes, Professor Lloyd, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'll try to keep it short. Lloyd Helferty, co-founder of UnityNet International, supported, of course, by Energem University, which is supporting this local education and training in the construction, deployment, maintenance of all these solutions that we were trying to implement through this network. So I am Chief Ecosystem Director, Program Development Director, Sustainable Society Consultant. Thank you.
Okay. Great, thank you. Well done. You did mention that you are part of UnityNet International, which is a sister organization to UnityNet African and Diaspora. You did mention that, isn't it, Lloyd?
Yes, yes, of course. We had started UnityNet International and UNAT with Carlos originally, and we are moving forward in trying to localize the global goals as per the AHIABGA mandate.
Okay, all right. Thank you. For those who don't know, localizing is looking at global solutions to local problems where global and local feed into each other for a healthy and happier humanity. Okay.
I would say it's the opposite of that. It's looking at global problems like climate change and trying to localize the solutions.
Okay. That as well. Thank you so much, Professor Lloyd. Yes, and then we'll then go to Mr. Revolutionary Party. You know, I haven't written your name here on the side from our last meeting, but please introduce yourself correctly. I cannot call you by the name of your organization. Please reintroduce yourself. Thank you.
Indeed. My name is Dylan King.
Dylan.
I am an international revolutionary who is basically trying to unify all revolutionaries under one organization. And I have gone about designing a new world for us on paper. I've taken the time to take all the inventions and technology and design a new economy for us, et cetera, without taxation. And I'm trying to put it all together in organized format for us. And my goal is to basically change the world. I do this with a couple of different organizations. The Truth About the World is my media outlet. And then we have We the People Have the Power. That's an American revolutionary outlet. I have Revolutionary Change in Africa. That is obviously an African outlet. It goes on and on. I'm associated with many organizations, and I'm glad to be associated with you guys. I love what y'all are trying to do. I love who you guys are, and I hope that we can begin to work together much more deeply.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I always appreciate your energy and your passion, and that's the same energy and passion we need to find revolutionary ways to find local solutions to global problems. Got it right there, Mr. Lloyd. Thank you. Welcome again, Dylan. I'm not going to forget your name ever again. And I saw that Mr. Nkoma from Malawi joined it. I don't know if I did. Oh, it says it's still in the waiting room. Okay. Is there anyone else while Mr. Patrick is coming in? Is there anyone else who has not had an opportunity to introduce themselves? Dr. Carlos, you've done that, or do you need to introduce yourself?
No, it's
if
okay.
Not,
yeah.
Yes, if not, can we be on standby for the next for the presentation? But I'd like Mr. Patrick to introduce himself. Okay, but I think we've just lost him. Yes, I think we've lost him, but we will continue and then say welcome to everyone. Welcome everyone who's on board, and we look forward to everyone's contribution towards UNED, and your contribution towards UNED, UnityNet African Diaspora, will be your direct contribution towards the development of Africa, or an effective participation of Africa to solutions, global solutions at a local level. Can we, at this stage, please get ready for the first presentation? And seeing that I saw Madam Yego's one is on standby. Madam Susan, are you ready to present Osam? And if you may keep, I'm not saying keeping it brief, you allocated 30 minutes, but keep it brief. And then so we can also engage with the question and answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm not going to share my screen. I'm not going to share my screen. I'm just going to make my presentation. My name is Susan Diego. I am Chief Agricultural Engineer, Chief Agricultural Officer, soon retiring in Kenya. I'm also doing my master's degree in business IT. So when I was told to make a presentation, I thought of Okay, I just thought of doing it today.
Sorry, madam. Sorry, I have to interject.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
have to interject. Who is Techno Common? Someone has admitted them. Can we please, before we continue, we have to be careful. Can we confirm who Techno Common is? Can you please introduce yourself? And can the person who allow them in to confirm who they are? Oh, Dr. Carlos, you are the host. Dr. Carlos?
Yeah, yes.
Are you
Currently,
able to confirm them?
yes. Currently, we are experiencing a lot of young people joining.
Okay, Dr. Carlos.
Yes, are you getting me? I think, yes, I think this is a young person that is trying to join or that's already joined. So we can still go ahead, yes.
Okay, no, which is not a problem. It's just that 2 weeks ago we had the vulgar challenges that we had specifically from a lot of young people that we did not know, but it is fine. It is a risk that you are saying we should take. It would have been good if they could briefly introduce themselves,
Yes.
please. Yeah, before we continue, because some of them they're underage and it is not.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Please
yes.
introduce yourself. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
I have been asking them to unmute. There is no response. Did you wish me to put them into the waiting room?
Okay. For that reason, can the person who's Dr. Carlos saying that you're hosting for now, can you please remove them?
All right, okay.
Please, yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay. On a more positive note, Madam Susan, please let us now continue. Yes, please continue on a more positive note. Because, yes, I see they're trying to come in again. Can you please not let them in?
I don't.
At this stage?
Yes, I'm not letting anyone in. Okay, let's go on with the topic because of time. We can reduce it in time.
Yes, please.
I'm going to talk about food waste. I'm going to talk about food waste, and I had given out this presentation last week, so it's something that I'm just going to flash through. I won't take that route. Food waste or food loss is food that is not eaten. There are 3 categories of food waste. There is excess food. This is food that is recovered and donated to people. Then we have food waste. This refers to food such as plate waste. That is food that has been served but not eaten. Spoiled food or pills and rinds considered inedible that is set to feed animals to be composed or anaerobically digested. These are just definitions. Then we go to food loss. This refers to unused products from the agricultural sector, such as unharvested food. Food waste can also be eaten food and food preparation waste from residents and commercial establishments, such as grocery stores, green groceries, restaurants, food stands, institutional cafeterias, and kitchens, and industrial sources like employees' lunchrooms. Just a little bit, just if you want to expound on this, you find that when we are cooking food, at times we overestimate and cook quite a lot of food in our own homes. We can all imagine we've all been cooking food for long. And when we are processing food, it's good to have, as we do this presentation, it's very good for us to say that we talk about hunger, we talk about not having enough food and spending so much on food. It's good just to be able to plan on quite little amount of food that you can cook. And even though we have preservation,
sorry, madam.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There's just an point of interjection to say whether you have any visual presentation. I know you said you're not presenting anything visually. Do you have by any chance? Because I think it will assist.
Yes, I am presenting. I'm now doing food loss. Can you just give me a minute? I'll finish right now.
Oh, I was saying you don't have
Just
any
give me a minute.
slides.
Give me I have a slide that I'm reading through, and I'm not sharing it because I have already shared.
All right. No. I was
I'm now going on food loss. This can be defined as the decrease in quantity or quality of food. Food waste is part of food loss and refers to discarding or alternative non-food use of food that is safe and nutritious for human consumption along the entire food supply chain from primary production to end household consumer level. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goal Target 13.36 have global per capita food waste at the retail and consumer level and reduce food loss alongside production and supply chain, including post-harvest losses by 2030. Climate change mitigation strategies prominently features and reduces food waste. That is my slide number 3. And I go to slide number 4. It's just a picture of, like, you go to groceries, you find that there are foods that were placed there about 1 week and they have not been purchased. The only place is to put them in the dumping pit. So that we call food waste and also food loss. And
sorry, Madam Susan.
Some other countries, okay,
we can't see your presentation.
I said beginning, I'm not going to share my presentation because I'm using a smartphone. And I excused myself. I said clearly, I'm not going to share my presentation. I'm only going to read through it, Juliet. I think we got some interaction. We got some interaction on the way when people were joining in and getting them out of the platform. So I had already explained earlier on that I'm not going to share my screen.
So no, it's clear now. No, so it's quite clear now. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay.
Now, the causes of food waste or loss are numerous and occur throughout the food system, especially during production, processing, distribution, retail, and food services sales and consumption. Even when transporting food from one point to another, we can experience food waste. We can also experience food loss. This is an example. When trucks are exporting food or transporting food from one point to another, you'll always find maybe there are some technical problems with the truck and there are no spares around, or fuel has gone down and the truck cannot continue with the journey. Then the food, if they are not frozen, they will get rotten. So that is where we can lose quite many kilos of food. And then overall, about 1/3 of the world's food is wasted and thrown away in dustbin, garbage bags, etc. Food loss and waste is a major part of the impact of agriculture on climate change. It amounts to 3.3 billion tons of carbon emissions annually. There are many ways we can prevent food waste. This is the highest priority, and when prevention is not possible, the food waste hierarchy ranks the food waste treatment options from preferred to least preferred based on their negative environmental impact. Yeah. Then I have, because I didn't want to take much time, I want to talk about these topics that I've just mentioned briefly about food loss. Food waste is almost the same word, food waste and food loss. We have agricultural sector, agricultural part of it, especially during harvesting, when farmers are not timing well their farm operation. You find some farmers will get late in harvesting. If it is wheat and it's time to harvest wheat and the farmers don't go in and harvest quickly or on time, and then the rains, we have the short rains that come in December, November, December. Find that some of the wheat will get wet or to be rained on, and they'll lose a lot of their wheat in the field because they didn't harvest on time. And when it soaks in water, it starts rotting, and we have all these aflatoxins going in. Therefore, that is one way that food can be lost agriculturally. And also, if it is corn, that is being harvested, and you have employed, it's a big farm, and you've employed quite a number of people, and there is no proper supervision, the workers might not harvest properly, and some of the corn might be left in the field. So that is going to be food waste. Although it can be replowed back as manure, but the farmer will not get total yield or total harvest. So food loss in agriculture sector, that is one way. And also when we talk about other ways, I would like us to have collective participation right now. I'm through with my presentation. I'm not going to speak much because of time. I would like to give others an opportunity to also present. But I want to ask a few questions, and the platform is open for all of us to be able to answer these questions. How many ways do you understand what food waste and food loss is in your country? How many ways do you understand? Or how many ways have you come across food waste or food loss in your country? Anyone can answer that one. Then I can go to the second question. I only had 2 questions.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Yego. I hope everyone has noted the question, because I believe we all have experienced some form of food loss and food waste in our countries. I just, if I may respond, to say that I just came from a summit by one of our government departments. Noted you, Professor Lloyd, where at the end of that function, the food that had to be discarded, whether it's food that people didn't finish on their plate, or just there was just so much wastage. When I looked at that food, I realized that I could have easily fed possibly more than 500 children or vulnerable communities. And it is, it's one of those situations that made me extremely sad. So your discussion and your topic is very pertinent. I mean, we all know food waste in our various environments. This one is the one I speak of from a couple of days ago. Thank you. Excellent presentation and input as always. You always give us food for thought. Can we see, Lloyd, you have your hand up, and as we wait for other people to also answer the question, what food waste or food loss have you experienced in your own country? Thank you, Mr. Efeti.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if those questions that were asked at the end of the presentation could be put into the chat as well. So we have it in front of us and we can think about it as we listen in, as I'm doing. I just wanted to mention that one of the things that I found interesting when I traveled to Asia so many decades ago, the first time I went to some factories to do some work over there in Taiwan. I remember they had these cafeterias, fairly large. Of course, there were many, many people, hundreds of people working in these factories, but they would always collect the food at the end of your meal. People would actually stand in line at the exit to the cafeteria, and actually they would collect all of those food scraps off of the plates. And they had actually some contracts. So the factory itself had some contracts with the local farmers, specifically the pig farmers, and they would actually feed those food scraps. They would truck them directly from the factory cafeteria to the farmers so they could feed the pigs. Or they might have been also composting those food scraps so that they could produce as much value added from those the food that was left over from each meal each day.
Okay, that's a good system. Thank you for that. Thank you for that input. It's good to see what each country is doing. Anyone from Kenya? I'm picking now, because food waste and food loss is a big problem, especially when there's so much hunger in the world.
Yeah. Okay, Juliet. Madam Juliet, let me just read through the 3 questions. Maybe this might take long. I'll read through the 3 questions, and they can be answered towards the end, as what Professor Loy has mentioned. The second question comes in: can you mention one way to prevent food loss or food waste in the agricultural sector and also in the kitchen. The third question was, does too much rain, hailstorm, or any natural climate disaster contribute to food loss? How should we handle it? And the last question was, the last question was some ways we can teach the younger generation to avoid or prevent food waste or food loss. Some ways we can teach the younger generation to avoid or prevent food waste and food loss. So those are the 4 questions that I had for every one of us, that we may be able to answer them ourselves alone, or even when in this platform or in this session. Thank you so much for giving me the time for participation. And I also look forward to leave the platform because I have another meeting immediately.
All right. No, thank you. And people can feel free to even text their comments to those questions. You don't have to answer all of them, but it would be good to engage on such topics. And I think the way you put them, that in itself is another discussion point that calls actually for a different discussion point where we have different inputs. But let's leave it at that. And thank you again. Thank you again. And people can please put their comments to those questions in the chat box, unless someone needs to say something before or ask a question. Please, I know Madam Miego has to go, but does anyone have a question specifically for her before she has to leave? And we thank you again, Madam Susan. Okay. I take it that there is no question yet, but this does not have to, but the question I've always asked myself is, what is it that we can do as different African countries to make sure that the people who are in agriculture and the ones who produce food in our countries are able to contribute to the food ecosystem by big companies such as McDonald's, KFCs, and so forth. What can be done? Because you do have farmers, as an example, farming potatoes in Kenya, yet you'll hear that KFC has run out of potatoes. They mean their own potatoes. Continue, please, Professor Lloyd, on that.
Yeah, there are actually some really good examples as well that I've learned about, in particular from, again, one of my colleagues who's from the US, but he's living in Vietnam. And so this is the gentleman that developed the Wheel of Life farm. And so he has actually a son who lives in Texas. And one of their businesses that they have in Texas is actually to recycle food waste. And so they have also a similar system as like I was talking about in Taiwan, where they're raising pigs in one of the, I guess, sort of suburban areas of Texas, some of these big cities where they're actually contracting out with the local farmers, but also with the local restaurants. In particular, some of these corporate chain restaurants, where they are actually have a contract. It wouldn't be, I don't think, with McDonald's, but some of these restaurants in the cities, they will go out every day and again collect all of these wastes, these scraps. And then they'll feed them to the pigs, but they actually have a process. They don't feed the raw food directly to the pigs. So they're using these gasifiers to process, basically cook the food before they're feeding it to any of the animals, so that they're ensuring that the pathogens are not going to be an issue with feeding this waste food scraps to these animals. But then they're creating value added by cooking this food scraps, this waste, using these gasifiers. They're also producing biochar, which they're also feeding to the pigs, together with the scraps of food. So the output is manure, of course, from the pigs, which they are then feeding to black soldier flies. And those black soldier flies produce a very high value added commodity. And those are black soldier fly grubs. And the grubs are then fed to the fish. And the fish are then sold back to the restaurants. So they are using the restaurant food scraps in order to produce food for the restaurants.
Okay.
And this is the concept around the Wheel of Life farms.
Okay. No, it's a whole ecosystem, and that the rest of a lot of the countries can learn from. It will be also good to see if something similar could be done in terms of the moving of healthy, edible food from those who want to waste to those who are very much in need of. I'm going to suggest that we prepare to go to the next presentation, but I see Dr. Carlos needs to say something. I'm just going to ask Mr. Gaspari to be on standby. Yes, please, Dr. Carlos.
Yeah, thank you very much, Juliet, and thank you very much. I know Suzanne is gone. Oh, she's still here. She's still here. This is a very brief but crucial and important presentation. This is, I know you summarize it, and I want you to look at maybe the details, maybe probably by regions. The amount of food waste that is going on in Africa, in all the regions, and the preferred solutions, some of them you already mentioned, how we can actually categorize those ones. And you can also be backed up by Henrik and also Madame Rose and others, and all those agriculturists, specialists who are within UnityNet and Africa, both UNAD and UnityNet International. This is a time we should be specific and come up with clear issues. Where are the issues? And if this will help us if we are developing a project, for instance, in the Eastern region or Southern or West or etc., then of course we'll be able to get a clear determinant as to what we can do to address, for instance, food waste. Is very, very key in Africa, because I look at it right from the production stage, that is from the farm, to the consumption stage, and after. All this one encompasses. Thank you.
Okay. No, it is true, because as we were saying, I said earlier on, this is all about looking at strategic ways of dealing with such a problem of food waste. And it's good that you are now breaking it down to regional and country level, and looking at how it can be addressed. So the questions, I don't know if Madam Susan needs to say something. I don't see her. But the comments that people will share, for me, I just find that food waste in itself, and maybe by herself or anyone else, may just need a presentation, because it's but food waste needs to be linked to levels of poverty and food shortage, so that it's contextualized in terms of why we're saying it's wastage in the light of, in the absence of food. Then what does food wastage mean for those who do not have? And I think, Dr. Carlos, it does need some attention. So at this stage, maybe it's something that either anyone else, or Susan can look at, Madam Susan can look at, but it is something that's very, very pertinent. Yes, Professor Lloyd, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, so I guess if for those who may be interested in these topics, what I could potentially do is actually as we usually do, create some sort of discussion group around this. I would like to interact with anybody that's interested in the topic of food waste, in order especially to introduce them to some of these solutions that do exist and are being implemented in different cities around the world, such as I had described earlier, that's happening in Texas. We do want to demonstrate these Wheel of Life farms and eventually have them deployed across Africa. But what is really critical there is the creating the teams of entrepreneurs, the young entrepreneurs especially, who may be able to create a business out of this. And this is the idea that we're doing here, is of course establishing those teams of what we call female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs. And so this is the process of the conversations where we want to start empowering those entrepreneurs to succeed at those local community businesses that will be able to actually start creating value added from those food waste that exists in the cities everywhere, anywhere in the world. There is food waste that is not properly handled, not properly processed, not properly recycled back into more food. And this is the idea that we need to take the food waste that exists already. It's being wasted. It's being put into landfill. It's being improperly disposed of, where we can now have solutions, but they need to be delivered by those entrepreneurs who are going to come together. And this is our role at UnityNet, is to create the empowerment networks to ensure that they succeed as entrepreneurs in those businesses, recycling things like food waste.
Great. Yes, no, thank you. Those are, I know personally I am, and a few other people could be, and we all know how to get hold of Professor Lloyd, because that is something also very close to our heart, because as humanitarian entrepreneurs, it can also be looked as some form of business, but it's business that also does good. Thank you for opening up to that, Professor Lloyd. And let's see if people can actually get in touch with you on that. But I know personally, and I know that Madam, I don't know if she's here, my associate from Nigeria, Shimiz, could be also interested, because that's another way of dealing with the cases of gender-based violence. When people are secured in a food security, they do not put themselves in environments where they might face forms of violence. But thank you for that. Oh, there she is in the waiting room. If I may, can we ask, yes, maybe before we continue, just as a reminder, people are please welcome to put their details in the group, in the chat. Yes, so that we're able to make contact with you. Seeing that the session is live streamed, if anyone else wants to get hold of you, who's live streaming, at least they know who's here, because we are all valuable assets of information that people need. Okay, Madam Shimiz, yes, welcome back. I know you did have network problems. Dr. Carlos, I see your hand is up. As we get, yes, please go ahead, unless it's still an old hand.
No, it's not an old one. I just want to remind the team, UnityNet Africa and Diaspora, currently consulting or supporting an international organization called West African Women's Organization. They are currently, they support women empowerment programs in the area of climate change, food chain, the food chain system, and agricultural interventions and other economic areas, and also supporting young people. So they are primarily looking at how the measures in promoting food diversification, the food chain, the processing, the packaging, the branding, and the marketing. And so they are currently promoting local organizations in Sierra Leone, and they are working all over in West Africa, including Mauritania, which is 16 outside West Africa. So these are all opportunities that organizations who are within that region, they can come and partner with the short organization, and they look at how we can reduce food waste. It's very key. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dr. Carlos. But did you say specifically for West Africa?
Yeah, specifically for West Africa and plus Mauritania, which is outside West Africa, the 15 ECOWAS countries, and Mauritania makes it 16. However, they are on the preliminary to expand all over Africa. But it's a very strong and powerful women-led organization. The headquarters is based in Senegal. They have an international headquarters there where they train women, young people who are curious or really wanting to apply the food chain system in the area of food processing, packaging, branding, and marketing internationally.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, that information, Dr. Carlos, do you have by any chance? Or can you just type in the name of the organization for our members here who would like to link up to them?
Yes, I'm going to type the
Okay.
organization's name, and then you can just go through their website and then you can access them. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. That's the beauty about these sessions, because it's not just about talk, it's about joint information gathering towards joint solutions to the problems we face. I want to welcome those who've just joined us. We'll do introductions at a later stage, but I'd like us to move to our next presentation. For those who've just joined us, we had a presentation and a discussion around food waste and food loss, which was done by Madam Susan Diego. And we're just having various discussions and inputs around the issues of food waste and food loss in different regions and countries, and solutions. We looked at solutions of what other countries are doing, and we are saying the discussion will be taken forward to see how per region, or regionally in Africa, what can be done to minimize food loss and particularly food waste in the context of the shortage of food. I mean, we have food insecurity and food shortage, but we have high food waste. So it's an ongoing discussion. Thank you for that. Mr. Gaspari from Uganda, are you ready? Dr. Carlos, you may please put your hand down unless you still want to say something before the next presentation. Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Gaspari, are you still there?
Yes.
If you may please try and speak up. Yes, please, welcome.
I'm still on, and I'm trying to get my slides.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. We shall wait. Oh, here it is.
Okay. Let me trace it. Are you able to see the slide?
Well, I'm seeing white on my part. I don't know if anyone else is seeing anything more than just a blank white screen. Can someone else confirm, please?
Are you seeing something?
It's just showing black for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's just plain.
Is it fine?
Can you go to the first slide? Are you on the first slide? Because for now it's just showing a blank screen.
Okay.
Maybe go to the next slide that something might come up. Because it does say you are sharing.
Have you seen something now?
Unfortunately not. Can someone else confirm?
It's still black for me as well.
Okay. Let me change another way to do it.
All right.
Yeah. Let me try to do it very fast and I see. Maybe because I have failed to trace it, I had tried to put it on my drive, but I'm not getting it. So for a while, I don't know whether it can be easy. Unfortunately, you can't see me because I'm in darkness. You don't have electricity. You don't have power.
Okay.
So
would you like to
allow
share your
me in
presentation
brief.
with us? Maybe with Dr. Carlos, and then we can try. Then we can try and project it for you, or that won't help. Won't that help?
Yes, let me share maybe on professors, because I have professor's number, then you can project.
Yes, please. Because if we can't see you and we can't see your presentation, maybe let's try. Let's take a minute and allow you to do that.
Yeah, just share. Maybe you just share it within the group. Also, yeah, we can pick it from here. So is Lloyd going to do that?
Yes, he's trying to do that.
Okay, that's fine. Then after he can just forward it to the group, and then we will be able to access it. Thank you.
Yeah, please do pardon the silence. We are giving our presenter, Mr. Gaspari, just a minute to resend his presentation. I believe it should be worth the wait. Please, we ask for everyone's patience. With the loss of power in a lot of countries, that affects connectivity. I know that it also affects the network. So were you able to send it, Mr. Gaspari?
Yeah, I have already sent it to Professor's WhatsApp number, so can share with us. Hopefully, Professor has gotten it.
Is this Professor Carlos?
No, he's Lloyd.
Professor Lloyd?
Yes.
Professor Lloyd, do you have it?
I don't have it. I don't know if Lloyd have it.
Where was it sent to?
Yeah, I have sent it to you.
Lloyd, do you have it?
How? How did you send it to me?
On your WhatsApp.
I don't. Oh, okay. I'm seeing it now. Okay, just came in.
Thank you.
It'll take a second to download.
Okay. Please be having progress. But while that's being sent, can we, let me see. Okay. Yes, we'll do the introductions later. I see Madam Malika joined in, also from Uganda. So Mr. Gaspari,
It's
you're not
downloading
only-
now. So
It's loading. Okay. Mr. Gaspari, you're not the only one from Uganda this evening. And I see we have Mr. Muhammad Mustafa Sanko, who will also introduce themselves later because they were not here when we were introducing. And Sheen's Galaxy. I'm assuming that's Madam Sheen. Okay. We will do that after the presentations.
So you can see now?
Getting there? It's almost there. Thank you, Professor. Yes, we can see it. Awesome. Much better.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Professor Lloyd, and our presenter today. So now, first and foremost, I'm called Niyonzima Gaspar from Uganda. I'm a medical student pursuing Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery from King Caesar University here in Kampala. I'm the founder of Gaspar Foundation Initiative Uganda, and we are a community-based organization that champions healthy and development. It was founded in July 2022 under the efforts of the young people, and basically we wanted to respond on health issues that are affecting the young people and the elders and the mothers. Then the part of the development part of it, it is in part of education, because we saw when you come back to our villages, basically where I am now, many of the youth are not educated. Many of our people are not educated. That is why we don't even have That's why we don't have even electricity. You can move to the next slide. Yes, go to the next slide. Next. Okay, our vision is we want to have a continent where people have access to medical care and are financially strong. How will this one be achieved? We want to make sure that at least these people of ours, young people, get access to health care. Like how? Now we are trying to reach the communities by organizing health camps. And now as I talk, in January, we shall have our first, the one we can call our first activity, which is called a health campaign launch in Murasabu County, one of the deepest sub-counties that borders Rwanda as a country. So we are even a few meters from Rwanda. Sometimes that's why my network is not always stable. So we want to make sure that at least these people in hard-to-reach areas get access to medical care. Let's say, let it be reproductive healthy, let it be maternal healthy, let it be menstrual healthy, let it be health concerning the non-communicable diseases like the diabetes and blood pressure, that's hypertension. We want to make such advocacy and draw possible solutions on how our people can get relieved of them. Because as I talk now, there is no organization that has responded to them. But now, we the young people, we came up and said, let us respond to people's cries by forming this organization. Next slide. Yes, our mission is to collectively fight against hazards and reduce vulnerability of people by increasing household incomes. Now, like health hazards, all of us, we know them. We have Lake Kayumbu near us. We have water bodies around us. We have natural forest. We have a tree forest near us, and we border other countries like Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So now, among these health hazards, we have those non-communicable diseases. We have other diseases that affect the reproductive system. They can say, let's say Candida and others. We want to come up with a clear methodologies on how we can mitigate them, on how we can fight them as young people. Now, when you look at Ebola outbreak, now we are trying to involve the young people to advocate, like teaching the communities on how they should handle themselves against the Ebola virus disease. Then again, when you look at the pandemics, the Ebola virus, this COVID-19, we are champions. We are champions of COVID-19 vaccination. We tried to do that last season when they are vaccinating, and it went on well. At least now, this as I talk now, our people got even the booster dose, and they are now fine. Their immunity is strong. Next slide. Okay, we have values which we follow. We have generosity, we have accountability, transparency, social responsibility, and good governance. Just next slide. Next slide. Okay, we have our aims and objectives, and our primary goal, the primary goal of Gaspard Foundation initiative is to enhance healthcare provision, especially in reproductive health of adolescence. When we go to reproductive health of adolescence, basically we here want to teach them, to promote this awareness. Like when you look at this, we have some primary schools that surrounds us, and it has gotten many adolescent girls. But these girls have failed to get education about their menstrual hygiene. You find as of now, we have around 5 ladies who have dropped out of school just because they have gone, they went into menses while at school, they were not aware, and other pupils saw them like blood was on them. They laughed at them. Some were beaten because they were seated with others, and like the blood went to them. So as to advocate on this, we are trying to provide sanitary pads to the girls in these primary schools that surround us. As we also make awareness, meaning that we have to provide menstrual education to them. Then to pregnant mothers, we are also trying to make sure that we at least provide the mama kits, and we also educate them about a maternal childbirth, because there are many issues that the mothers, the expectant mothers, are facing. Then the awareness, the promotion of awareness on non-communicable diseases like blood pressure and diabetes. Basically, these ones are caused by, let's say, you find that you are eating a lot of calories, you find you cannot do exercises. It is our turn as the younger people to tell our parents and our fellow brothers and sisters, majorly in these local communities, to do such activities and to reduce calories such that they don't get these diseases, because these diseases are very chronic and they are very dangerous. We have seen many people suffering just because of them. Then we have to provide HIV or AIDS screening and counseling and support. Here comes whereby we have seen many youth or many children who are born with HIV just because they have, you find it is congenital, they have gotten it from their parents. And now these children develop stigma. They start hating themselves to the extent that some even commit suicide because they find themselves with HIV. Therefore, it is upon us, the young people, to get close to them, to teach them, actually to counsel them, to show them they also fit with the rest, to show them it is normal to have it, such that they can also get involved in other activities. To do this, like this part of healthcare provision, we want to leave no one behind, because when you look at the youth, they are the most affected. You go to mothers and part of elderly when we go to non-communicable diseases. Then our next objective, it focuses on supporting the quality education of marginalized communities, including orphans, disabled, the needy, by provision of scholastic materials. This is very essential to most of us, because me, myself, I have been raised by passionate people, passionate schools, and now I'm at the university studying medicine and surgery. And in the whole village, I'm the only student who have managed to reach senior 6 and have attended the university. Therefore, through this, we said now, Gaspari Foundation, the brains of other younger people, should merge and see how best they can introduce quality education into this community, such that at the end of the day, at least our people get education. Because when you have good health and you have good education, now we shall see now we shall be reducing the vulnerability of people from good health to quality education. Now we shall go to we shall have ended poverty, because when you have good health, you have education. Now you have where to pass, such that you get what to eat. So through this, we have a project under this second objective of supporting quality education. We start with community leaders from LOCs, and we found out that it is necessary to have a preparatory and primary school to start nurturing the young children, supporting them, especially the needy ones and the orphans who are unable to support themselves. Our third objective, we have 3 major objectives. Our third objective is ensuring that the community get access to clean water and sanitation by providing gravity water or boreholes construction. When we come to this about clean and safe water drinking and sanitation, back to my village now, I'm referring to my area where I come from, because it really hurts me. It hurts me being the only person with senior 6 who has attended the university. I want at least to make sure that I bring something back home. So when you go to clean water and sanitation, we had boreholes that were functional like 10 years ago. When you come now back in the village, almost all the boreholes are not working, even the neighboring villages. So people are fetching water just from running water. Others go to fetch from the lake, and you know the calamities that happen at the lake. You find many people have drowned, have died from there, and someone just fetches water from the lake, comes don't even boil water, just drinks. Therefore, it is upon us to make sure that we advocate for this, and our communities get clean water and sanitation. Maybe those are our 3 core objectives. And other objectives, we have the supporting of women, girls, and youth empowerment by training them in entrepreneurship businesses and agribusiness by ensuring food security. Now, this one comes after getting health and education, because you cannot empower someone who is ill. You cannot empower someone who is too illiterate. Therefore, these entrepreneurship businesses will come after acquiring the 3 objectives. Then we are involving the young people in climate action. Being in Hire area, and being in Hire area, some of you who saw what I posted in groups of actually, as I talk now, it has been raining, and now the landslides are very many. They are hitting the houses to the extent that even some people, good enough men, no one has died, but you find it is even blocking the houses. You know, they are not such permanent. So we want that we take we take part in climate action, like we sensitize their communities about tree planting, especially the agroforest one, like the trees that can keep water into the soil. Then we also educate them about like terracing, whereby you dig, you plant in one garden, the other season, this season you don't plant, the other season you plant, like that, such that we can improve. And being near the lake now, all the soil, we have soil erosion from the hills down to the lake. Now we have floods. You can move to the next slide. It is upon us and other willing partners to to work together such that we see how best our communities can benefit. The way we want to do this, number one, let's say when you go to the part of reproductive health, we want to call out the menstrual health education to the girl, to the schools, primary schools. We have around 5 primary schools in Murora sub-county where I am now, plus that preparatory and primary school. That's one project under Gaspari Foundation. So we want to carry health education in those schools. We want to carry out the maternal child birth education in communities and the general reproductive education to the adolescents in the communities. This does not only apply to girls, because even we boys, we face a lot of health problems, reproductive problems, like now when you go to these bacterial infections, we have the candidas and others. So this is our turn to empower the young people, to involve the young people so that we mitigate these challenges that they are facing. So in our sub-county, basically we had those 5 primary schools. We have 2 secondary schools, but they are now in another town council, but of recent they were in one sub-county. Now we are growing. So now this will involve we shall involve the health workers. We have doctors, nurses, and midwives. Then when we look, when we still talk about this idea, the doctors, now we are using the ones at the university, the interns of King Caesar University. It is found in Bunga. Then we also have the nurses from Murago Hospital, also who are trained from the university, and the midwives. So it becomes a bit easier for us because we try to involve the people with expertise to make sure that this work is done well. Then we also have to involve the VHTs, the village health teams, for advanced advocacy and service provision. Then we need through organizational partnerships, both locally and internationally, and so that the foundation can achieve these objectives, meaning we need collaborative efforts. That's why I'm calling each one of you to contribute the ideas and basically guide us also, because we are the young people. We need more from you, our parents. We need more from you and more guidance and support. Next, we need to act as change agents. That is being motivators in fellow youth and other associations, national in other associations and national development plan to foster positive impacts to the younger people. Automatically, when I brought this idea to the communities, they will come to it, meaning that we are changing the hearts, actually the mindset of very many younger people and other people on how our community can develop. Then we want to, we shall do it through local and international seminars like this one. This is very important and very crucial. Workshops, virtual meetings, with conferences and exchange programs to acquire more knowledge so that the projects can well be implemented. This is very important. Go to the next slide.
Okay.
We are in continuation. I'm trying to, let me try to summarize because of time.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you.
And the international seminars, that one I'm done with it. Community engagement is a key factor towards its development, especially in agroforestry education, where we want to keep water in the soil. Now, this one comes on the idea of climate change. We want to engage the community so much To those who saw what I posted, you saw how the community combined the efforts to go to save that that household that had gotten problems of the landslides. Then establishment of youth consortium that will monitor and engage government for transparency, accountability, enhancement. Basically, me myself, I'm a youth leader at the district youth council. So I try to make sure that I engage the youth and mobilize them, tell them what is taking place. So surely I'm very happy to coordinate with you, and I hope this one will bring a very positive impact to our community. Next slide. Next slide, please. Oh, Gaspar Foundation Initiative Uganda Health Campaign launch. This is a project due to take place on 28th January.
Sorry to interject. I don't know if you want to quickly summarize so we can have time to 1 or 2 questions and lead to closing the meeting, please. Yeah, you can just maybe summarize the rest of the slides.
Okay, now being a community-based organization in Murora that aims to champion health and development, members of this organization and well-wishers have organized the health campaign launch in Murora sub-county. During the launch, we shall have some of the activities. There are those ones I have mentioned. They are the reproductive health education, distribution of sanitary pads to the girls in the 5 primary schools, and part of and distribution of scholastic materials to 100 needy students, to 100 needy children. I think that one was the last slide. Zoe has moved to the next slide. I'm almost done. Yes, next slide. I'm done with this one. Next slide. Next slide. Go to the last slide. All right, so I have talked almost on all of this. There is therefore a call for collaborative efforts or partnership in this activity, since we cannot achieve it alone. We promise to work together for SDGs champion attainment. Thank you for listening to me. A joyful evening to Africa and a good morning to Diaspora. Thank you so much. Now we can go to question. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaspari. Thank you for that presentation. Yes, no, it was, I mean, I see that Dylan has his hand up, but thank you for highlighting. I've noted you, Dylan. Thank you for taking the time to go back to your community and being a role model there, because the children and the youth in your community can only look up to you and aim to do the good work that you are doing. And congratulations for the work that you are doing and inspiring others. And well done for working in the areas of girls and women, and also encouraging entrepreneurship, because through entrepreneurship, people will be able to create more jobs, more sustainable jobs, and bring change in various communities. Yes, and I say, well, let's leave it at that. And you are dealing with the challenging issues, but important issues of menstrual health, and how they affect girl children from continuing with school. Congratulations, and you are in the right platform, and please keep joining and participating on these programs. In that way, you'll be able to link up with other members who are not here, some of them, who have similar programs or that you can partner with, whether they're in Uganda or whether they're in Nigeria or in other parts of the world, but they're definitely on this platform. So please do continue to join us. I will take a few questions and then we will lead to closure. Dylan, I see your hand is up. Yes, if you can have comments and questions based on what Mr. Gaspari has presented. Thank you again.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate all the work that you are all doing so deeply. And I just want to confirm that we are all on the same page here. And I have more of a comment than a question that we need to begin organizing in a more professional, proper manner. We need to organize a new government basically for us and so on and so forth. And this is one of my goals. This is one of the things I'm striving to do and trying to work on. And the discussion needs to begin steering towards that direction. How are we going to accomplish this goal? Because we all know that those goals are necessary and what's necessary for the world. You know, I believe that we need to move past the presentations of our goals and move into the true actions of accomplishing them. You know, we have to begin working together on a more deep basis. We're doing way too much talking and not enough action. And I know that y'all are taking actions. I'm taking individual actions as well, but it's just not good enough as an individual. You know, we have to begin unifying on a more proper level. And this is a good start, but we have to move past this at this point. Things are becoming more and more urgent by the day, you know, and it's absolutely necessary for us to move to talk of action. What actions are we going to take now beyond presentation? So if y'all have any thoughts on that,
all right,
please let me know, because that's where I'm at. I'm trying to get the actions going.
Yes, no, thank you, Dylan, for that comment. And I think that that's the same spirit that that's why we persistently try and have these meetings. But as you're saying, it is all about action, and it is all about linking the dots. But at the local level and at different levels, people are taking action. But you do agree that we do agree that we need to take a more systematic approach. So you know, so I don't know if anyone else wants to comment on that, but I hear you. And it's just a matter of saying, how do we support the individual actions and how do we give impetus to the different actions and programs that people are doing at the different levels? Because that's what Gaspari is saying, that he and his team are doing the bit that they can, but they need all the support and the impetus and the motivation and everything. So if needs be, you know, get hold of him. That's what this platform is all about. Let's support each other in tangible ways, at times, even if just giving each other moral support, as long as all the work that we're doing goes towards the development of our people locally and globally. Yes, any other comment? Thank you for that comment. Any other
Thank
comment?
you for your response.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Gaspari, if there any yes, I see Mr. Hafiti. Mr. Hafiti, please, you can make a comment or question.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, a comment for our guest here, who is showing this Revolutionary Party logo. So I just wanted to say that the actions we take within UnityNet are to build the partnerships. And so this is our primary role here, is to, and this of course is what many of our members are doing already, is starting to build these coalitions at the local level, but then those coalitions at the local level link up with regional levels, link up with national levels, link up with the international level. So we need to organize ourselves locally first. And this is actually the rationale and the reason for having these community interventions, the programs we do, the planting of the trees, the establishment of the youth peace gardens, the events that we have, the bubble fun, all of this community engagement is intended to bring everybody into a single space to have these conversations around those solutions that we need to be implementing. So our role isn't to actually implement the solutions. Our role is to bring awareness to what those solutions are, educate those youth, especially in those local communities, about this concept of humanitarian entrepreneurship,
Yes.
create the teams of entrepreneurs, and help to build the empowerment networks that will ensure that they are successful as entrepreneurs in their local communities.
Beautiful. Yes,
Okay.
and I
Um,
love what's going on in UnityNet
Dylan,
here. But my point is that yes,
Dylan, next time maybe just raise your hand, but you can make that point. Yes, and we can, yeah, we can make that point. Yeah, you can just raise the hand next time to make a comment. But go ahead, please respond.
okay. Yes, so my point is I'm also doing the same thing, you know. Many others are as well. We have like way too many networks out there. We have way too many things like this going on that are way too divided, way too conquered. And I understand y'all's goal of unifying these people, but and I agree that y'all should do that, and that is a beautiful platform. And I love that you the name UnityNet for that concept right there. But I believe that some of y'all would be willing to work as pretty much government officials and things along those lines. Y'all are leaders, you know, the new leadership of the world. And that's what we have to begin organizing on a very high level, to begin placing people in interim positions so they can begin to lead this world in the proper direction. You know, everything is way too divided and conquered right now. Like I see that we're working to unify a little bit at a time, and we're working on local levels, like you said, but it is very urgent that we begin working on the same page under the same organizations and things like that. And that's where we should be focusing urgently, because the people are all doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
And it's just a practice of insanity. You know, we're doing nothing because we're all doing the same thing and just talking about it.
All right.
And
yeah.
so I urge us all to try to move past that, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I hear you, and I fully appreciate your I call it your frustration, because of the urgency of the matters. You know, the same way that we discussed.
We lost your audio.
Yes, sorry.
Juliet.
Okay, I was sorry. I was saying that I understand your passion, and there is a sense of urgency. And what's important is to, yeah, connect. Unfortunately, as UnityNet African Diaspora, we try and connect the dots and put action in a tangible way at a local level, and look at global solutions. So your frustration is understandable, the same way that issues of hunger and poverty are very frustrating. But what I do is at a local level, even at an international level, you hook up with the people who are doing programs and support those programs, because every step, every small action adds up to a big action. The only problem is non-action. And I promise you, the people on this group are all involved in specific actions at their levels. It's just a matter of saying, how do we all support each other? But I hear you. We will continue with ways and continue on the discussions. Your passion is appreciated. We must just allow the process, and please do connect with individuals on this group. as you slowly come in and become part of this group and understand how the whole ecosystem works. But it is about making those changes.
Beautiful.
Yes. So at this stage, I don't know if whether Dr. Carlos is here, but I really would like to appreciate the two speakers we had, Madam Susan Yego from Kenya, who spoke about food loss and food waste. That is also another issue that needs revolutionary change and attention. And also want to appreciate Mr. Gaspari from Uganda, highlighting the work and the revolutionary work that needs to be done, because revolution is about making a change, small change that will have a big impact in this community. And all of this calls for joint collaboration amongst us all to see how in a different ways and different forms as organizations we can contribute towards solutions. I'd like to appreciate everyone because we are now a minute past our given time. Appreciate all the participants, and in his absence, appreciate Andrew. I see he's not in, but he's using his network that connects us. Andrew Networks, and Prince Andrew, we appreciate you. And I'd like to appreciate, I'll just note Hendrik, my fellow brother, who's consistently on the programs and who's also equally passionate about finding solutions to hunger through agricultural science. Thank you, Mr. Halfiti in Canada, for keeping things together and also having been part of the formation of this platform. Madam Malaika, I know that you're not here when we're doing introductions, and I want to recognize you, and I'll give you 2 seconds to introduce yourself. But let me also thank Madam Rose from Kenya, underlining Kenya, who also does great work because the revolution is not just about the stomach and about what we do physically, but also we need to do and help people with psychosocial support for them to cope as we continue to make the changes. I'm not assuming that this is Madam Sheen on the Galaxy 11, but if it is, they will reintroduce themselves because, but other than that, I want to, yes, let me also, Dylan, thank you also for your input and for staying on for your input as well. But Madam Malaika, please introduce yourself 2 seconds, literally, and then we move to closure. I think you're the only one who has not introduced themselves here. And Sheen's Galaxy, I just want to confirm who that is. Yes, if you can also introduce yourself. Madam Malaika, please quickly introduce yourself and welcome. Just when I say she must introduce herself, she disappears. Okay, but I think she got cut off. Sheen's Galaxy. All right.
Hello everyone. Thank you for the time. My name is Sheen Smango from Zimbabwe. Team leader of Zioko Okapa.
Madam Sheen, welcome. Earlier on, I confused Madam Rose with you. I said Madam Rose from Kenya was you, but welcome. Welcome. Just 2 seconds, introduce yourself, please.
My name is Sheen Smango from Zimbabwe, team leader of Zioko Okapa Trust, which focuses on healing and social justice. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to join in. Yes, thank you. We did have very interesting discussions, but because we are, one can always go back. So you might actually find the other, if you want to go back, you can always watch on Facebook. But other than that, we had very good discussion. Thank you for joining in. I am assuming, and I see Dr. Carlos is not here, unless there's any. What I'll do is I will allow Mr. Fanameva to say just one word, and then I close the meeting. Yes, as I prepare to close.
Thank you, Juliet. I think we've dwelled on a couple of very important issues tonight. And I think we need to establish a way to follow up on these issues and make sure that we give the support where support is required to make a success of what we want to endeavor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I thought that was going to be a closing statement, but I see Professor Lloyd wants to say something. Please continue, Professor Lloyd. I do agree with you, Mr. Fanamevo. We need to look at our own supportive ecosystem to make sure that there is a follow through on what gets presented here. Yes, and I like the fact that Professor Lloyd is one of those pragmatic people. Professor Lloyd, please continue.
Yep. So I just wanted to remind everybody, in case they haven't seen it, the ACEP Universal Children's Day presentation is tomorrow. I will be recording my own presentation for that event. It's going to just be an overview of what is the Global Unity Network, and it's 20 minutes that I have a number of slides. That's what I'm going to be doing right now, is recording that and sending it to Islaimat so she can present it. It takes place at 5 a.m. at my local time, so I'm not going to be up at that time. So it will be a pre-recorded presentation for everybody to get an overview of the Global Unity Network.
Okay, great. So you will be sharing or has that been shared already?
I believe what I'll also do after later tonight is make sure that everybody is aware of the presentation that's being made, because I don't think it was actually shared to all of the groups. I'm fairly certain that it is in the UNAD main group, but there are probably a number of subgroups and people that are there that may not have seen that announcement from Islaimat.
Okay, great. We look forward to that. And I don't think there are any comments. If there are, thank you to everyone who was able to be present at today's meeting. And this is where I say good night, unless, yes, good night until next week. We'll
Thank you, Juliet.
Yes, thank you. See each other on Thursday.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. I love that. Sounds like a good night, Mr. Kaspari. Good night,
All
Mr.
right.
Yes, thank you. Who is host? Okay, let me see.
Okay.
Dylan.
Yes, ma'am.
Dylan,
Yes.
I say you are currently host. Okay, will you please end the meeting?
Sure, I can do that.
All
Peace and
right,
love,
then.
you guys.
Okay, thank you. Peace and love to you too. Bye.